Welcome everybody, thank you for tuning in for another video from our lightweight SL e-bike roundup. Today we've got Sour Patch Sean, Nick, and myself, and we're going to be talking about the Pivot Shuttle SL, a 132 and 150 millimeter lightweight e-bike that is a whole lot of fun on the trail, so stay tuned. Let's learn about the Shuttle SL. One of the lightest bikes in our roundup this year, the Shuttle SL, comes in at 39.6 pounds for our size large. And was that before or after we did the tire swap?
Before tire swap.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because we did put some pretty burly Schwalbe Tacky Chans on here as the official test tire, and they were a little heavier than the OE Spec tire, but still a really impressive weight and one of the lightest bikes in the test. So size large that we have here is 482 mil reach, 626 millimeter stack height, 352 mil bottom bracket height, 432 millimeter chainstays with a wheelbase of 1,239 millimeters. The head tube angle is 65.5 degrees for a nice sporty feel, and a 76.5 degree seat tube angle. Being that it is a Pivot, you can expect a expensive price tags as well as some high quality spec. We are testing the Team XTR edition, which comes in at $12,999. Prices do start at $89.99, so you've got a few different options all the way up to $13,199. So before we get into some ride impressions and thought, let's talk a little bit about drive unit. This has the Fazua, or as Sean and the Germans like to say,
Fazua.
Ride60 drive unit. It has 60 Newton meters of torque. It's got a 430 watt hour battery. And for those of you who own one or another
Fazua
powered bike, you will know that there is a range extender somewhere on the horizon soon. Ish.
Not here yet.
I think this bike, actually, I think the Fazua stuff does quite well, battery efficiency wise, but a range extender would only make it better because that means more time in boost or whatever, I forget what they call their boost.
Rocket.
Rocket.
Mode.
But quiet.
Quietest.
Smooth.
I think it's
it is,
quiet.
yes. The Fazua bikes are the quietest for sure. Like very silent. I like it a lot. And pretty solid power, right? At 60 Newton meters.
Kind of right in the middle of the test.
Yeah. Solid all around offering. So ride impressions, thoughts. Nick, why don't you lead the way here?
Yeah, this is a great bike, man. For 132, it's a 130 rear, 150 front. Like, this is the travel spec I ride all the time.
Okay.
This is, you know, my bread and butter all day. It's something that's pedalable, efficient, but this bike is set up a little bit different than a lot of the bikes here, with a short rear end, steepish head tube, so it remains a lot of playful snappiness, easy to move around on the trail, really easy to move around in the air. You know, this thing you can jump, and some of its lightweight adds to this, right? Is you can move it and pick it up and put it on another side of the trail and with no problems at all.
Okay.
So, but also leads to some of the issues of maybe a little bit darty at high speed and not quite as confidence inspiring in the very steep and technical rough stuff. Okay. But I think I did go like the flattest I've gone on any jump on this bike, and it was fine.
Regularly.
Oh! Regularly.
Yeah.
It's just so fast.
You just gotta hold on to it.
It is a very, very fast bike. This thing is a rocket ship for sure. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's probably the quickest to accelerate to speed, and then you're just holding on for dear life.
That's right, because it's got a Reynolds set of wheels on it, so
and
it's light and they snap up. Yeah.
Like on the jump trail, like just gone overshooting everything.
Yeah.
First run, you're like, oh crap. But yeah, even like when the trail got super chunky, it was still really good.
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger issues that we're facing is just some of the fork's acting up a little bit.
Yeah, like I think a little bit more volume spacer setup would help a lot in this fork, and spending some time dialing this fork in.
Yeah, because I think we're way over pressure for what
We are, yeah.
recommends, and we're still blowing through travel.
Are we? I think what we're running into is that this bike is so good and capable that we are riding it
Way above.
Way
past
beyond.
where it should be ridden.
Yeah.
And we're getting into like where Shuttle AM or even Shuttle AT would feel
LT.
more
Oh,
comfortable.
for sure
Or
we
LT,
are.
yeah, sorry, AM and LT. So there's something to be said and props to be given for Pivot making a sub 40-pound e-bike with a 130 mil travel, doing things on a trail where we could justifiably wear a full face helmet and scaring us, right? And I think, I think with this bike, it's really worth taking a look at what type of rider you are, what type of terrain you are riding, and then making the decision of, okay, I know this is the lightest, I know it has the Fazua, I know it's a Pivot, you know, whatever it is that you're like gravitating towards, and realizing, is a 130 mil travel bike with a 65.5 degree head tube angle really the best bike for me?
Because Pivot has, I mean, to their credit, they've built out several different bikes in this line, so you can do just that, right?
Right, yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, this is the only one currently that's like the SL or, you know, lightweight e-bike. And I know that attracts some people, but I think you just gotta stay focused on travel category and intended purpose of the bike. It is nimble, fast, sprightly, playful. I mean, pick the adjectives that describe a bike that will effortlessly move, hop, and get airborne and be very fast doing it, and this is it. But
on the flip side, it climbs really well.
It does climb very well.
You would think with this short of a chainstay, you might have some issues lifting, but this has the right amount of torque, the right amount of tuning. It does awesome on the climbs.
Yeah, it's a great bike for sure, all around. I think we all agreed. It just, to me, it felt like there was a point when stuff got really loose. I was trying to fight for traction, like while maintaining speed, or like getting into really steeper, chunkier bits, kind of steeper jumps where I was really wanting to nose in. It felt like a 130 mil bike, right? It just had me a little bit more timid. And I think something we just kind of realized was it's really dry and loose. And this bike being, you know, 40 pounds, where many of the others are 44 or 45-ish pounds, it makes a big difference in staying settled and staying, you know, down on the ground, keeping traction. And, you know, that could be a reason why this bike was just a little bit squirmier in some instances, was the weight. But suspension platform was sick. I really liked it. Very supple and very active, and even in like really rough, chunky stuff. Legendary dad. That's why we got Chris here. He doesn't get free bikes. He has to buy bikes.
Yep.
Probably never bought a Pivot before.
I have not bought a Pivot before.
So what do you think about this thing? I remember you texted me the first time you rode this
I
bike.
wrote, this is my favorite bike, right when I got done to you.
Yes.
And I loved this thing on our home trails.
Okay.
It's super fast,
Okay.
super light. I had no clue. I didn't look at any of the spec at all. I thought this was a 150, 150, 150, 140 bike.
Okay.
I look at a 132 and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
This thing handled everything I threw at it, and a little too much with the speed at times. But overall, this thing was right up there until I got to these trails.
Okay.
And I felt a little bit out of my comfort zone with the speed, number one.
Yeah.
And then number two, casing a few jumps like I do.
Yeah.
That rear end definitely caught up to me. So it kind of went down the list. If I was on a trail I knew and I could run trail speed and was very confident, this bike would probably be at the top of my list.
Okay. But just you don't quite have that forgiveness of travel, especially you know, where you feel comfortable riding on the trails you're riding. Okay.
Yep.
So where do you rank this bike out of 10 stars?
This is, for me, 8.
Okay. Pass the bike over.
I'm out of here.
Okay. So Nick, where do you rate this?
Low side of this bike for me would be just kind of the squirminess at high speeds, but not really its intended use. High side is it's fast, it's nimble, it's light. given those two with a really solid motor package, I'm going to be like 8.75 on this bike.
8.75.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean.
I'd probably be right around there too, at least for some of our home trails, like the flowier, kind of not so steep, rocky, pushing some of these SLs way out of their comfort zones on the trails we're riding this weekend.
Okay, so an 8.75, staying in class with where this bike should be ridden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very solid. I would have to say yes. As always, I'm gonna have the long answer. If you keep this bike in its intended category, remembering it's a 130 rear travel bike, I would put this bike 8.75. I kind of want to go 9, but it's hard for me to give such high scores away easily. Although this bike did earn it, it wouldn't be easy. So I'm gonna go 8.75, leaning towards 9 for general all-around trail riding. Really solid bike.
Yeah.
And I think even a step down getting into the next suspension spec and not XTR is still going to perform very, very well. And yeah, awesome bike. Great job, Pivot. Hopefully that range extender comes out soon from Fazua, and you can add even more miles and elevation to your ride. So thank you guys very much for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for the rest of the bike reviews in this series. And of course, stay tuned for the roundtable where we put the Shuttle SL against all the other bikes in contention. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out on the trails.